Subscribe to this channel and check out our Flutter machine learning courses available on Udemy. Link is given in the description. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to build our first Flutter application of this course, and this is an image picker application. So basically, we are going to build an application where user can choose an image from gallery, or he can capture an image using camera inside our Flutter application. And after that, we are going to display that selected or captured image inside our Flutter application. And we are building this application because later we need to pass that image to our machine learning models and get the results. So that's why we are learning to choose or capture images inside Flutter. So now let's start by creating a new Flutter project. So open your Android Studio and click on this new Flutter project button. After that, make sure that Flutter is selected here, then click next. And here you need to assign a name to your application. So I will name it as image picker. And after that, you can select the project location here, and then you can add a description if you want to. And after that, you can select the platforms for which you want to build this application. Like here, Android, iOS, Linux, Mac, Web and Windows is selected. So it means that this Flutter project will be created for all of these platforms. So after ensuring these things, click on this create button and our new Flutter project will be created in just a second. So now our new Flutter project is created and it is ready. So let's firstly install this new application inside an iOS simulator or inside an Android emulator and look at the default counter application. And after that, we are going to start building our image picker application. So I have already created an iOS simulator and you can see it here. And in your case, if it is not running, then you can click on this open iOS simulator. Then a simulator similar to this one will be opened. And after that, you can select it here and then click on this run button and our application will be installed inside it in just a minute. So now our application is installed inside the simulator and you can see the starter application. So this is basically the default counter application provided by Flutter. And here when you will click on this floating button, this count will gonna increase. So this is the application present inside our starter code. And now we are going to make changes inside this code because we want to build our image picker application. And the first step of building our application is creating its GUI. So inside our image picker application, we are going to add a button on screen. And when the user will gonna click on this button, we are going to launch the gallery where user can select an image. And once user will gonna select the image, we are going to display that selected image here. Similarly, when the user will gonna long press on that button, we are going to launch the camera. And when the user will gonna capture the image in that camera, we are going to display the captured image here. So that will be the flow of our application. And now we are going to start by adding the GUI of our image picker application. So in the GUI, we will have a button and then a view where we are going to display the image. So where in this application code we need to add the button. So right now you can see we are inside our main dot and it contains all the code of this counter application. So here when you will scroll down, you will find a build method here. And inside this build method, the GUI of this application is present. So when you will scroll down, you will gonna find this text widget which is displaying this text. You have pushed the button this many times. So this is the text which is being displayed here. And then also we are displaying this count here. So here we are displaying the GUI of this counter application. But now we want to build the GUI of our image picker application. So we are going to remove the GUI of this counter application here. So basically inside our build method, we got a scaffold. And then in that scaffold, we are displaying this app bar. And this app bar is displaying this title, Flutter Demo Homepage. And after that, in the body of this scaffold, we are displaying a column widget. And that column widget is displaying both of these text widgets. But now we are going to remove both text widgets from here. And after that, press Command S. and when you will do that, you can see this text is gone, and the reason is we have removed these widgets from here. Similarly, let's remove this button as well, so you can see this floating action button, so just select it till this point and then remove it. After that, press Command S, and now you can see this button is gone as well. And now after removing the previous GUI, we are going to add an elevated button here. And then in that button, we are going to pass the child property. So the child of this button will be a text widget because we want to display a text choose or capture on this button. So write the text choose or capture. And after that, the second thing which we need to pass is this onPress method. So this callback or this method will be executed when the user will gonna click on this button. So here we can pass an empty method, and this method will be executed once the user will gonna click on this button. So press Command S, and you can see this button choose or capture, and when the user will gonna click on it, this method will be executed, and inside it we are going to write the code for opening the gallery so that user can select an image. And once user will gonna select the image, we need to display that image above this button. So to display that image, we are going to add an image widget inside our GUI. So write image here and then call its file method. So we are going to display the image using a file object. And the reason is once we are going to choose or capture the image, we are going to get that image in the form of file. And after that, we are going to display that image using this image.file method. But right now, we do not have our image in the form of file format. But later, we are going to get that image in the form of file. So to store that image in a file object, what we can do is to create a file object inside our my home page state. So basically above this build method, you can declare a variable of type file, and then you can name it image. And after that, you need to import the library in which this file object is present. So click on this icon and import this library .io. And after that, you will see an error here because we did not initialize this image object. So here we can make this image object nullable. So it means that this image variable can be null or it can contain an image file. So after creating this image variable here, we are going to pass it inside this file object. So image, and select this image. And after that, between these two widgets, add a comma and this error will be gone. But right now you can see we are getting an error that this image can be null or the argument of file cannot be assigned to a parameter of file. So basically it is stating that we cannot specify this image variable here because it can be null. So here to avoid this thing, we can check that if this image variable is null, so in that case, we are not going to call this image.file function. So if this image is equal to null, so in that case, we are not going to do this thing. But in that case, we are going to display an image icon here. So I have added an icon widget here, and inside it, you can specify the icon which you want to display. And you can select this icon using this icons class. So add this icons and then add a dot, and you will be able to see a lot of icons here. So as we want to display an image related icon, so type image and you will find a lot of image icons. So let's select this icon for now, and after that add a colon here because this is the else block. And after doing this thing, we have made sure that whenever this image variable will be null, so in that case we are not going to display the image but we are going to display the icon. So here we can pass a not null insertion that this image variable will not be null whenever this function will be called, because we have made sure that whenever this variable is null, we are going to display an icon and not going to display this image. So after doing that, press Command S, and there you can see this small image icon here. And now we can also increase the size of this icon. So here set the size property, and we are going to select the size to 50 for now. After that, press Command S, and you can see the size of this icon is increased. Similarly, if you want to increase it further like 150, then you can do that, and you can see its size is increasing. So now we have created a very simple GUI for our image picker application, and in that GUI we have added a button which is displaying this text choose or capture, and then we are displaying a view or a widget where we are going to display the image. So basically, before displaying the image, we are checking the value of this image variable. So if it is null, so in that case we are going to display this icon here, and if it is not null, which means that user have chosen or selected any image, so in that case we are going to display that image on screen. And now inside our next lecture we are going to start the process of choosing or capturing image inside our application. So see you in the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. So now after creating the GUI of this application, it's time to add the feature of choosing or capturing images inside Flutter. So to do that, we are going to use a library called Image Picker. So open your favorite browser and then go to Google, and here type pub.dev, and you can also directly type it here in the search bar. And now in the search result, open this first link pub.dev, and this website will be opened. So this is basically the official package repository for Dot and Flutter applications, and here you can search for any Dot or Flutter related library, and the library which we are looking for is called Image Picker. So type Image Picker here and press enter. And after that, to view the results clearly, let's minimize the simulator, and you will be able to see this Image Picker library as the first result, and it is the most popular and used library in Flutter. So click on this library and the documentation page will be opened. And now the first step is installing this library inside our Flutter project. So to do that, click on this installing section, and there you will find this dependency. So just simply copy this line and open our application, and here inside pubspec.yaml file you need to paste this line in the dependencies section. So you can see this section here, and whatever library you want to add in your project, you need to paste its dependency here. So I pasted it here, and now click on this pub-get, and this library will be downloaded and added inside our project in just a minute. And there you can see this library is downloaded and it is now added inside our Flutter project. And after adding the library, open the documentation page again and go to readme section. And there we will find the instructions for using this library inside iOS and Android. And you can also see we can use this library inside macOS, web, Windows and Linux as well. So here scroll down, and the first section which you are going to find is for iOS. So basically, to use this library inside our iOS applications, we need to follow these steps. And if we want to use this library inside Android, then we need to follow these instructions as well. So these are some additional things which we need to do for Android and iOS. So we are firstly going to start by looking at the instructions for iOS. So as the main purpose of this library is to open the gallery so that user can select an image. And similarly, it also provides an option to launch the camera so that user can capture an image. So for using this library, we need to add few permissions inside our application. So basically we are going to show user a dialog that our application want to access the gallery or the camera. And if user will gonna allow those permissions, only then this library will gonna help us to choose or capture images inside Flutter. So to add those permissions, we need to add some key string pairs inside our iOS section. So basically when you will gonna open the Flutter project, you will find this iOS folder. And when you will expand it, you will find this runner folder, so expand it. And inside it, you will find this info.plist file. So now inside this file, we need to specify the reason that why our application want to access the gallery or camera. And we are going to specify that reason in the form of this key string pair. So between these key pairs, we need to specify the key that for which permission we are writing the reason in the string tag. So here, when you will open the documentation page, the first tag is this ns photo library usage description. And here we need to specify the reason that why our application want to access this photo library. So just simply copy this key and open our application. And here inside this dictionary tag, add a new key tag. And after that, paste the line that we copied and then create a closing key tag as well. So here we have specified this key, and now to write the reason, you are going to add a string tag here. And after that, create a closing string tag as well. And now between these string tags, you need to write the reason that why your application want to access the gallery. And this reason will be according to your application. Like if you are building an image editing application, then you can write the reason as my application provides the functionality to edit images. So that's why we need to access the gallery. So here you can type that reason. And after that, we need to do the same thing for the camera as well. So what you can do is to copy this key string tag and then you can paste it here. And after that, improve the spacing. And then open the documentation page and copy this ns camera usage description. And after that, open our application again, and here in the key tag, simply replace the key with this key. So now here you will going to write the reason that why your application want to access the camera. And similarly, if inside your application you want to record a video, then you need to specify the reason that why your application want to access the microphone as well. So that's how inside iOS section you are going to specify the permissions. So after following these steps, the setup for iOS is completed. And now the next instructions are for Android. So for Android, no configuration required. So as this library is updated, so now we don't need to do anything inside Android section. And by just simply installing this library inside our Flutter project, we can use it inside Android applications as well. So after doing that, the setup for both Android and iOS is completed. And now the next step is using this library for choosing or capturing images inside Flutter. Subscribe to this channel and check out our Flutter machine learning courses available on Udemy. Link is given in the description. So now after setting up the library, let's start using it for choosing or capturing images. So on this documentation page, scroll down and you will find this example section. And there you will gonna find the instructions for using this library inside Flutter. So you can see the first step is creating an image picker object. And after that, to pick an image, they are calling this picker.pickImage method. And inside it, they are specifying the source to gallery. So basically, if you want to select the image from gallery, then specify the source to gallery here. And if you want to capture an image using camera, then specify the source to camera here. So now let's start using this library so that things will be clear. So first step is creating this image picker object. So open our application and go to main ... And here we can remove these comments to make our code cleaner. Similarly, let's remove all of these comments as well. And after doing that, to format our code, right click or press Ctrl click and select this reformat code with dot format. And it will gonna format our code and it is looking much better. So now let's enhance this section. And then above our build method, we are going to declare an image picker object. So let's call this object as image picker. And after that, add a late keyword before this declaration because we want to declare it later. So after declaring the object here, we are going to initialize it inside our init state method. So here type init and you will see this option for init state. So just select it and this method will be added. So this init state method is the first method which will be called once our application will be visible on screen. And inside it, we are going to initialize this image picker. So write image picker and then call its constructor. So image picker. And that's it. So now we are declaring our image picker object here and initializing it inside our init state. And after doing that, we need to use this image picker for choosing or capturing image. So to do that, we are going to create a method and name it choosEmage. And we are going to call this method when we want to choose an image from gallery. And as we want to choose the image when the user will gonna click on this button, so we are going to call this method inside this onPress. So call this choosEmage method here. And that's it. So now when the user will gonna click on this button, this choosEmage method will be executed, and inside it we are going to write the code for launching the gallery and choosing the image. So to do that, we are going to use this image picker and we are going to call its pickImage method, and inside it we need to specify the image source. So type image source and then add a dot, and you will see these two sources here. So as we want to choose image from gallery, so we will select gallery here, and that's it. So this line will gonna open the gallery once user will gonna click on this button, and then user can select the image, and once user will gonna select it, this pick image will gonna return an X file object. So here we can create an X file object, and then we can name it selected image, and after that we can assign the result here. And as this X file is nullable, so add a question mark here, and after that we need to add an await keyword here. And we have added this await keyword here because this pickImage method will gonna open the gallery, and until user will gonna select the image, we are not going to get this X file. So basically we need to wait here. So that's why we added this keyword, and once we will do that, we need to make the method asynchronous inside which we are calling this await keyword. So make this method asynchronous, and that's it. So it means that this method will be executed asynchronously, and meanwhile other things can be performed in the backend. So now this choosEmage method will be called, and inside it we are calling this pickImage, and it will gonna show a gallery here. And once user will gonna select the image, we are going to get that image in the form of X file object. And after getting the image, we need to display that image to the user on screen. And to do that, we need to store this X file inside our file variable, because when this image variable will not be null, then this image will be displayed on screen using this image.file. So here, to convert this X file into a file object, you can firstly check that if the selected image is null or not, because there are chances that it will be null because it is nullable. So if it is not null, so in that case we are going to assign the result to our image variable, and here we are going to create a new file object, and inside it we are going to pass the path of the file, and we are going to get the path using our selected image. So selected image dot path, and after that add a semicolon, and that's it. So basically if the user have selected the image, then this code will be executed, and we are going to store that selected image in the form of file object inside our image variable. And now as this image variable will not be null and it is containing an image, so our image will be displayed here instead of this icon. But to tell our GUI that this image variable is changed, we need to call setState method, and inside it pass the variable about which you want to inform the GUI, and that's it. So now as this image variable will not be null, and because of this setState our GUI will be updated, so we will be able to see the selected image here. So after making all of these changes, simply click on the stop main dot, and then install the application again inside the simulator. And now you will be able to choose images inside our Flutter application. Similarly, you can install it inside an Android emulator, and you can perform the same thing there. And here you can notice that we clicked on this stop main dot and then install the application again, and the reason is we have added the image picker library, and now to make those changes in the installed application we need to install it completely. So now our application is installed, so let's click on this button. And there you can see when I clicked on it, I got this pop-up that our application would like to access your photos. And the reason mentioned here is the word which we put inside our info.plist. So there you can see we did not write any proper reason. We just wrote the word reason. So whatever text you will gonna write here, it will be visible. So here let's give this permission, and once I did that, I will be able to see the gallery of my iPhone, and same will be the case for Android. And here we can select any image, like I am going to select this image, and as soon as I selected the image, our image is being displayed in the GUI. And the reason for this thing is, once user have selected the image, we got that image in the form of X file object, and then we converted it into a file object and told our GUI that this image variable is updated. And now in the GUI we are checking the value of this image variable. So if it is not null, then we are going to display the image using this image widget. Similarly, you can try the same thing for some other image. So I will gonna select this image, and you can see our image is being displayed here. So now the first feature of our image picker application is working correctly. Subscribe to this channel and check out our Flutter machine learning courses available on Udemy. Link is given in the description. And now after choosing the image, the next step is capturing the images using camera inside our application. So to do that, what we need to do is to add another callback inside this elevated button. So basically we want that when the user will gonna long press on this button, we want to open the camera so that user can capture an image. So inside our elevated button, after this on press, we can add an on long press method, and then we can create the body of this method. And now inside these brackets we can call another method which is capture image. And we did not created this method yet, but now above we are going to create this method below this choose image. So simply copy this choose image method and paste it below, and here rename it to capture image. And after doing that, inside this method we need to make only one change, and that is, instead of this image source to gallery, we need to specify the image source to camera here, and that's it. So now when the user will gonna long press on this method, then this capture image method will be called, and inside it we are using this image picker.pick image method, but this time this pick image will gonna launch the camera, and once user will gonna capture the image, we are showing that image to the user on screen. But if you will try to run the application on iOS simulator, you will not going to get anything upon long pressing on this button, because there is no camera preview inside iOS simulator. So to test this feature, we need to install the application inside an Android emulator. So to test this feature, I am going to install this application on an Android emulator. So I will gonna select this Pixel 8 emulator here, and in your case you can select the one which you created. And after that, let's simply click on this run main ... and our application will be installed inside that emulator in just a minute. So now the application is installed inside this Android emulator, and because of the settings of my system, you can see this warning. So I can click on wait and this will be gone, but in your case it will not gonna occur. So to open the camera, what we can do is to long press on this choose or capture button. And there you can see the camera is opened inside this Android emulator, and this is the default camera preview for this emulator. So let's capture an image. And once I captured the image, you can see this captured image is being displayed inside our application. And same is the case for real device, that when you are going to install this application inside your real iOS or Android device, you will be able to choose or capture images inside your application. And we are doing that with the help of this image picker package. Welcome to this lecture. So now we have completed our image picker application in Flutter, and in this application we are choosing images from gallery or capturing them using camera inside Flutter. And in this lecture we will quickly review the process that how we have built this application. So firstly, we have created a new Flutter project, And then in that project we have added this image picker library, and using this library we are able to choose or capture images inside Flutter. And after adding the library, we have specified the permissions for iOS inside our info.plist file. And after doing that, inside our main dot, we have declared an image picker object, and then we initialized it inside our init set. After that, in the GUI, we have added this elevated button, and when the user is clicking on it, we are calling this choose image method, and when the user is long pressing on it, we are calling this capture image method. And inside these methods, we are using this image picker library to choose or capture images. So here, once user will gonna capture the image or he will gonna choose it, we are going to get that image in the form of X file object, and after that we are converting it into a file object, and then we are storing it inside this image variable, and we are using this image variable in the GUI to display the image. So there you can see we are checking the value of this image variable, that if it is not null, then we are going to display the image stored inside this variable. So that is the reason that once user will gonna choose or capture the image, the selected image is being displayed here. Subscribe to this channel and check out our Flutter machine learning courses available on Udemy. Link is given in the description.